and I will be your guide for today. Today I'm going to do, this is actually Restream to Facebook and YouTube. Haven't done this for a while. So hey everyone in Facebook, when they turn up. I actually haven't done Restream for ages, so I'm trying to navigate through the new directions on Restream to be able to get a chat bar going and stuff like that, but at the moment I can't see it. I'll figure it out anyway. I really want to focus in on these channel messages. So I went live yesterday, as I always do, on YouTube, and then I looked at my messages. I had so many more channeled messages to be able to share with you guys. They just keep on downloading these messages, and as they come through, when they're feeling very profound, I write them down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some of these messages. Like I just got heaps of them on my phone. You probably can't see that, but I'll just read down them and then we will chat about them and maybe channel some more information if they want to come through with some more information. If nobody knows me, I am a conscious channeler. I believe this is where humanity is going. We're all going to become conscious channelers. We're connecting to our soul. We're feeling-based creatures, humans are. And when we start to recognize that and bring that into our reality, we're all going to end up be able to do what I can do. So I'm not a channeler as a trance channeler where something comes in and I trance channel. I am more of there's like a link, a telepathic link because I'm very close to my soul, and my soul has these other beings that it talks to, and we have this conversation in my head that goes on. And one of the most powerful stories that I can tell you that led me to this was they directed me to digging up gold at a beach. Like literally they said, dig up in that space. And I dug up a solid gold bracelet worth $1,000. So that really opened my eyes to the fact that I was getting information elsewhere from somewhere else. Any case, I will carry on with these channel messages that I want to share with you guys. So one of the things that they said is, and I'm just going to read this off my phone and then we'll chat about it. They said, if you want to move forward, you are going to have to do something that your brain is not used to. This is because your brain is programmed to see a world in a certain way, which keeps you going around in circles. So you will need to do things outside of your comfort zone, and that includes the way that you think. And that's really powerful right there, because we constantly want to see change happening and we really don't change the way that we think. And that has to be navigated through the shadow self. So something comes up that is showing you that it's not a very nice thing that you want to look at, then I would be looking at it, because that's probably the blockage that has been keeping you going around in circles anyway. What else have we got here? We have, when you find yourself mature enough to look at any issues you had in the past from a new perspective, that's when you get to heal those traumas as you become your own wise spirit guide of your younger, immature self. Until then, it goes unhealed, waiting for the you that's mature enough to revisit those unhealed moments. So it's always been you are looking for, as you know what you truly need to heal, because you know yourself better than anyone else. Another can only show you the way, but ultimately you have to do the work. So yeah, that's another powerful message there. In the end, we're saving ourselves. Like, you can always go to someone, you can help, they can help you, they can guide, they can do whatever, bring in messages that can trigger things and all of that sort of stuff, and memories and all of that. But ultimately, you're the one that has to do the work. And revisiting something of the past, if you come from a higher perspective of, I know more now than what I did then, I can see it through the eyes of the observer, looking at myself and realizing that everyone that I was moving through the story with, that was traumatizing me or whatever, was actually moving through their own thick story of a deluded story themselves. And so It's not their fault. It's just the story that I got entangled into, and now I have to forgive myself for being entangled into that story. So there's a lot of forgiveness of self as we move up into these higher dimensions, and my team's constantly bringing through, look at yourself to be able to move up through into these higher dimensions. Because it's never really going to be somebody else. It's how you have reacted or how you've entangled yourself into these stories. Okay. There's some really weird ones here, but I'm just going to say them all. Hey, Yannicka, good to see you from YouTube. I'm doing it at a different time too. I'm just going to start trusting myself and go live whenever now, because I've been so strict with my Virgo mind of has to be at that time and that day and that's it. And now I'm just like, you know what, stuff it all. I'm just going to, I'm really going to try to just be me and do whenever, do these lives whenever, and just trust that it's all meant to happen. But I'm a little bit, honestly, a little bit nervous about trying to step outside my own box. And here we are with these messages that have been pouring through me to try something different, think differently. But it is nerve-wracking. So if you are trying something different and you feel vulnerable, allow that just to be. It's okay to feel vulnerable. The other messages, all these messages that came through were at different times as well. So some of them aren't they're just different titles, different subject matters. So let's get into the next one. This one is interesting. It says, death is only mourned by the logical program or that part of self that is invested in life as the only thing that matters. But from a soul's perspective, it knows it lives forever. Only the life you had could never be repeated. So it still has a death element to it, but ultimately it's your logical mind that mourns everything. So that's really interesting as well, how we mourn death. And it's really a mourning of the story that you thought was the only thing that was. Because we've been programmed to believe that the only thing that exists is the physical world, and that anything beyond that is airy-fairy or whatever. But when we really connect to the soul, we know that everyone is ever present. It is retained within the fact that we are all source energy going on a journey. And so even if there is it's just, I think this is to help navigate the process of death, so that we realize there is a mourning that happens and accept it for what it is. It's okay, because there is that, but it is only part of the whole picture. And when you go into the soul and you connect to the soul, you start to realize, that's still present. There's still some aspect of themselves that I can relate to. And that's when we start to become more entangled into life beyond this life, and we'll be able to be telepathic and communicate with those who have passed on. So we're closing the gap. We're moving through the veil, so to speak, into an unknown quantity of allowing us to be able to be communicative with those that are passed over as well, so that they never really disappear. We don't feel that we're going crazy anymore. We're really, this is for real. I can feel them. I can sense them. This is actually happening. My soul is still connected to their soul. It's just the physical body and the physical story that has come to an abrupt end or an end. So that came through last week, and I'm just trusting these messages as they come through, as I'll tell you guys what they're all about. Hey, Sky and Etherical Moonlight and Sherry in the chat bar from YouTube. We still haven't got a Facebook one there, but we'll see. Let's see. I haven't done Facebook for ages, so it's a different audience that's coming in. Okay. The next message that I got was, when we choose not to have faith or trust yourself and then you choose to follow others who come from their own lack, you actually take on all of their unhealed parts and live them out. Then you become their confirmation that they were right to overprotect you in the first place and control you in the first place. That's really interesting, because they're really saying that you connect into their story, you become the person that they were seeking for, to be able to confirm themselves to be that controlling, I have to control my outer world sort of scenario. I have to make sure everybody fits into my scenario, because I need to feel safe, because I can't control what's in here. I can't control my thoughts. So I have to control somebody else out there. And then you as a victim, say you choose to trust them instead of yourself, you end up becoming part of their entangled story, and you are confirming to them, yes, you're right to be able to control me. Yes, you're right to be the one that overprotects me. That sort of thing. This is a very valuable place that we're in, humanity's in at the moment, of taking back one's power and understanding that we're to no longer trust something that goes beyond our soul and our passion and our knowing, our intuition. If we keep trusting other people outside of us, and we don't know their story completely, but we're trusting them to say that they know our story. And so you sort of get entangled in their story, and then they're like, see, I told you I was right. You are a victim. I need to help you. When we step up out of that, and a lot of humanity needs to step up out of this so that we don't have these controlling sectors that are really pushing our buttons. That's coming up as well. Hey, Peter from Facebook. Good to see you. There, somebody from Facebook. Liz, my beautiful team. I love you guys. Okay, they support me so much. Right, so now we have following that message, and I felt like this needed to be straight under this message. I actually got it another day, but I put it straight under this message. It said, watch out for narcissism being masked as leaders. Those who use problems to guilt to control the masses and funnel the people towards less freedom so they gain more control. These aren't leaders. They need us to rule and feel threat. And feel that they're not threatened. So if it's and then they went on to say, anyway, a true leader feels secure in themselves to see bigger pictures and become a beacon that guides all to live freely, feeling secure to invent, inspire, and create a wonderful world for all. So that's what a true leader looks like. And I think we need to look at how we are seeing those who are in charge. Are they truly here for the benefit of all? Or are they here as a narcissism trying to control something outside of themselves and build up the thought that everyone outside of themselves needs to follow them so that they feel really powerful? Oh, I see myself as powerful because I'm in control of all of that. Yeah, but you're not even here to help. You're here to keep us in a very limited, poor way, victimized way of thinking, so that you can still feel like you're on your pedestal. It's not a leader. That is not a leader. So we've literally been following, humanity's been following things that are not what I would call leaders. Because a leader will always see the bigger picture. They come from the observer point of view. They can see many observational truths. And there's lots of different platforms and different realities here of truths. Truth can be seen from one side or another side differently. But if you can see both sides, you can help both sides. That is a true leader, someone who wants to gain the feeling of freedom. Like, for instance, as I gain my wisdom, I want to share it with as many people as possible. I don't want to be like mind free and feeling really good about myself and I'm the only one there. I want everyone to come with me. Like, that's how I see the picture. And I believe that the new guides of this planet are going to be feeling that way as well. Like, they're going to be feeling like we want everyone to come with us. It's not a matter of where you've come from, what your story is about. There's always a way to be able to help and guide others because there's always somebody that has the piece of the puzzle that the other one's looking for. we become an interwoven blanket. Nobody really stands out other than the aspect of the leadership that you have to help navigate the rest of the world. So we all become leaders, and we all become those that are part of the whole tapestry or the whole woven story that we're creating. So there is no real such, I wouldn't call them leaders as such. In the end, we all are the guides and the leaders of our own right. But if you have something that you know more about in this reality, then why not come forward with it, produce it, even if it has to be in a business or something at the moment, and then until everybody starts to come up with that enlightened aspect within themselves, then we start to really share the freedom and help each other. It's certain things in our reality, the storyline that we've been folded into, the money concept and all of that, that will fall, that will start to fall. Things will start to fall that aren't of trust in this next dimension, that we know that in sharing, we don't need the money aspect. We know that we're coming from our own energy value and our own will of ourselves, and that we will navigate our life knowing that we are vibrationally meeting that which we know we're worthy of. That is going to be a big shift as we go along, and definitely channeling that at that moment. So they really want us to understand that things are going to change. Our mind has to change. Everything's going to seem to be a little different. We're going to expand. We're going to be able to connect with a lot more. But we're also going to realize that the true leader was always within you. You navigate your own path through your own will of self. And that allows all of the crumbling to fall of that was outside of us, that's not matching that. That's coming from a lack within themselves, trying to control outside themselves to feel good about who they are. Hey, Celtic, good to see you. Yeah, I've thrown in a surprise one, right? Because I've got all of these channel messages I have to get through. I'm just going to go live whenever now. I just decided I'm going to go live whenever. I need to expand myself as well, right? And trust these thoughts. Okay, so the next message that came through was, to enter a benevolent reality, one would have to cross the threshold of their own fears, as the path of the benevolent is a path of love, and where there is the truth, and where the truth of love is, there lies no fear. So the truth, they're calling the truth of love as in, we could call it unconditional love, but really they like to say love is love. It's just humanity's kind of separated it into certain warped aspects, but love is something that you create because you're desiring it. And you can create through fear as well, but you're then creating everything that you don't desire, you don't want in your reality. So if we're going into these benevolent sectors where we're actually communicating with other beautiful beings and stuff like that, then we're going to have to face everything that we fear to be able to connect with them in the end. They will feel the fear. When they feel you in fear, they will probably turn away. If they were physically next to you and they felt that you were now going into a fear story, they would probably move away, because they know that if they give any sort of attention to that fear, they become entangled in the story, and then they can drop or lower their reality into your story, and it can be causing more of a hindrance, because it's confirming to you, just like we were talking about with those other channel messages. So even coming from a benevolent, just the same as you move through your life, if you see people that are coming from fear, it's like, okay, I need to let them feel into their own inner core of where that's coming from. If I'm part of that story, they end up blaming me. So you end up becoming their outside problem that they're confirming to themselves as the truth of why they have to feel that way. So this is all to do with coming back to one's own power of navigating your life, just as benevolent beings will as well. They navigate their own life because they want to hold a higher vibration for you to see when you have faced your fear. So yeah, there's all of that that's coming up as well. It's a whole inside out story that we're moving into. What else have we got? If you meet someone in their own fantasy world, let them be. You'll need somewhere to go when the so-called real world falls. I really love that one. It's so cute. So yeah, if you meet someone and they're in this la la land of fantasizing that the world could be this and the world could be that, let them be. This is the moment to let them be, because they are probably here to use their imagination to conjure up a beautiful aspect that humanity has forgotten about. And let them fantasize and be in their world like a child and that. But navigate it in a way of, okay, so you've got this fantasy and you would like to see this fantasy. This is how I would talk to a child. So you've got this fantasy and you like to see this fantasy grounded in this world. What steps in this practical world would you take to make that fantasy be solidified in this world? How could you ground that fantasy? How could you bring that fantasy in? It's funny how I talk to my girls. Obviously, when they're little kids, you talk to them in a language that they understand. I'm talking to you guys now so that you can understand. But so you'd simplify it even more, obviously. But I want you guys to realize there's a part of ourselves that want to bring in something. So why not allow this fantasy to be in the etheric, and then ask ourselves, if I see that in my world, what would that look like? And become that. You become that. So if a child wants to see, like when I was a kid, I was always the peacekeeper of the family. I was always trying to bring the family together and have talks. And I was always trying to get everyone to pull their money together to share it with others and that sort of thing. I was just always doing that sort of stuff, wearing shirts that said I care for the world and that sort of thing. I was just constantly trying to be a peacekeeper. But for me, I needed to become that myself in this way. I had to really value that aspect of myself. Instead, I was picked on, taunted and all of that. So I started to repress that part of myself that wanted to see the world in a different light. So if you do have a child that's in a fantasy world, my team is telling me, let them be in the fantasy world, but also ask them, what's the practical way of grounding that into this world? What can we do to adjust our story, our reality, to be able to navigate that into this world? If you like the fantasy, obviously, you choose the fantasies that you want to bring in or ground into this world. Because humanity is flipping the coin. And we are learning that our imagination was taken hostage by those that we allowed to be perpetrated to us, and we become the victim to them. And so our imaginations was then directed by a program of to focus on specific things outside of ourselves to make us feel really good. And the fantasy value of ourselves was poo-pooed and made into fairy tales and all of that sort of stuff. It was made into be a smaller, that will never happen. But now is the time for those with the beautiful imagination to come forward and utilize it but we need to also ground it. We need to ground these beautiful imaginings, this way of how architects can create beautiful buildings that are conducive for more than just one family, conducive for a whole heap of people, and all sorts of things like that, where everyone's coming together with the same in the same direction of moving towards a set goal, set outcome. So yeah, they're showing me like villages coming together, teammates coming together, soul tribes that have the same value that they want to create in this world and where that wants to go. And for that to happen, these fantasies have to be grounded. Now, that is happening. There's certain pools of people that are actually doing that. I know that for sure. But we want to make this a bigger picture overall, so that we have the architecture meeting the builder, meeting the dreamer, meeting the one that finds the wisdom, the channeler, and we're all seeing ourselves as the value of what's needed to create the whole big picture. That has to when that comes into play, that would have to come from a place of absolute trust in each other as well. So yeah, nice. Another little cute one here. When you can take the reins to creating your own reality, predictions become easy. I like that one too. That's cute. When you can take the reins to creating your own reality, predictions come easily. So when you have the willpower and the clarity of yourself, if I know where I'm going, this is my path, I know this is what my soul came here to do, I am absolutely going in the right direction, then you create your own predictions. I know this is going to happen because it's in alignment with me, and so it is going to be. And then everything else starts to fall away. And even if you come close to something else that isn't in that prediction value, or isn't in that value of creating the thing that you really want to create, it falls away, because you are now really focused in on what you're here, what your purpose is here to do. You're allowing your passions to drive you. And Sky and I just had this conversation on the phone. Sky's my beautiful friend from New York. So yeah, like we knew it's to do with that, allowing our passions, which is coming from our soul's expectations of what we want to do here on earth, why we were birthed into this body in the first place. And many of us had to shift the story, to change the story. So to change the story, we need to take that value back. Yeah. Thanks, Wade. Yeah, hit like and all of that sort of thing. I keep forgetting to say like and subscribe and all of that. But anyways, see what else is here as well. Thoughts bend reality, but you've been taught that thoughts only reside within your head and reality is separated from you. So you lack the wisdom or support in knowing that you can bend reality. You can shift the story. So your thoughts are directing yourself towards something. Now you've got something nasty coming towards you. I got taught this in a very valuable way, where I had a lot of speeding fines, and there was one camera that kept catching me. And I swear there was something wrong with that camera. But when I rung them up, they were like, yeah, no, you're speeding. Who cares? We don't care. And then I hung up the phone and I'm like, I'm just shifting this story. This is not happening. This is giving me too much anxiety. I'm going to lose my driver's license. I'm going to lose everything. No, this is not going to happen. And I literally put a cork in it. And I thought to myself, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not going to be afraid of this, because my fear had pulled me into it over and over and over. I kept getting these tickets from the same camera. And then I let it go enough. You can do that. You can actually just go, you know what, I'm going to focus in on my children and the games and the playing that we had, because at that stage I had little kids. I put my attention somewhere else that I really wanted to put my attention into. And every time I had that story come up, they taught me to put a default image in my brain. So I put the sunflower in my brain and I focused on a sunflower in that moment until it released and I relaxed and I breathed. I did these deep breaths whenever that happened. And then I focused on something. What else do I want to focus on in the moment? And I kept doing that. And in the end, it was about a couple of months later, I had this feeling, all of a sudden that story came back into my reality again, and I'm like, ring them up. So I trusted my intuition, I rang them up, and they said, I only had 2 points off instead of like 11 points off. I can't remember how much it was. But I was just about to say, but, and I'm like, no, do not look a gift horse in the mouth. You've only got 2 points off. That somehow or another, it's all been redeemed. You actually shifted the story. So go with the fact when you actually shift the story, don't poke at it. Shift the story, allow the story to shift. So yeah, thoughts do bend reality, but we have been taught that our thoughts are here and reality's out there, and it's not even part of the same game, but it is. It's all part of the same game. So that's really important too. Okay, another thing that they brought up was it's best not to make decisions when you are depressed or angry other than the decision to shift your energy into something that feels better for you in that moment. So you can then make decisions based on love again. So if you're in fear and you're going along in your life and you're like, oh my God, I've got to make these decisions. Should I turn right? Should I turn left? And all of that. And you're in fear. No, they are saying the only decision then is I need to relieve myself of this fear, which is like shifting the story that I was just telling you about, and having control of your thoughts, controlling your thoughts rather than them letting them control you. I always do a lot of deep breathing when I think about those sort of things, because it's the one thing, like they always bring me back to my breath. Focus on your breath, focus on your breath. When you're in the moment of anxiety or fear. So it's best not to make any decisions in that moment. Just let that go and go, the only thing I need to decide upon is what's going to make me happy. Okay, what will make my soul happy in this moment? And it doesn't matter whether it's like grabbing some strawberries that you've been saving in the fridge for a cake that you're going to bake. Go and eat them. Do something that makes you feel happy. You can always buy new strawberries, but you can't. But this thinking in a negative concept, it needs to be fed with something positive. So do whatever is going to create a positive feeling, lift you out of the fear base, and then once you're feeling good about yourself, now make the decision. Yeah. So that's a really good handy tip there that they're telling us as well. See if there's anything else that can help you. Okay, I think there's one right at the very beginning here. Our minds interlock. This is a really weird one. I'm going to see if I can get to the bottom of this one. Our minds interlocked at the same thoughts when we include our outer world with our inner world, or our imagination. There's an interlocking of minds that will happen when we realize our absolute focus is entangled with our imagination. What we want to see in the outer world is entangled with our imagination. And then we're going to interlock with other people that have the same focus. And then they said, when enough of us do this with clarity of knowing who we are and where we are going, then those ideas we share start to show up outside of us. So we can play in a reality founded on interconnection instead of separation. So it's an interconnection that happens within our minds first, because we literally need to make love with our other ego self, our other self, the self that is holding the program, that holds this story in place. We kind of need to love that aspect of ourselves, love the physical world, but also love the imagination and where that can take us and how that can shift the story if it's not showing up as we like. There's this love that we have to find within ourselves. So our minds interlock at the same thoughts as others when we include our outer and inner world and our imagination. And then because we're all healed within ourselves, because we're coming from love for both sides, and then others that are healed with the same, wanting to ground the same imagination, we all kind of magnetize together. They're showing me these particles just coming, gravitating together with the same understanding of what they want to do while you're here. So you start to magnetize those other soul tribe members and that sort of thing, or people that are, if you don't want to use that word, people that are relevant to the story that you want to create. When enough of you are doing this with clarity and of knowing who you are and where you are going, and with those same shared ideas, then it starts to show up outside of yourself. It can do no other thing but to show up outside of yourself. So it's a gravitational pull of coming together as a whole from within yourself that's collectively bringing in the magnetization of those outside of you as part of it, because you're loving the outer and the inner within you. And then that will literally cause, because there's all these groups coming together with these same ideas, of course the action gets put into place. And so the action is driven into that reality becoming part of your reality. I love it. Like I was reading all of these channel messages, and I was thinking, these are all different bits of channel messages, but when I'm reading them like this, I can see it all interlocking together as in us creating this new reality that we want to move into. So that's kind of beautiful just there anyway. So cool. Yeah. And like I said yesterday, I was clearing a big blockage of mine, which is going to shift my story. So things will shift. But there's going to be passions and desires that you know are the truth that is relevant to your soul's mission, because it just feels right. So those things will always stay solid, because they become the solid base of your bucket, your life, your support within yourself. Nobody else can taint them, because you already know that that's who you are. But those other things that are not conducive to the whole story, they will start to slowly fall away. Just let them fall away. It's okay. You don't have to try to hold everything up for the rest of the world to see that you're doing the right thing by everything. If it doesn't feel right anymore, it might have just been a stepping stone for you to get to this position so that you can move up again and again and again. Remember, every time we move into a higher frequency, the story could shift. Our imagination could play a new part, because we're peeling the onion layer to reveal something beautiful, a new thing that was hidden by a fear, something that you were afraid of, hid it. And so now you've looked at that, you've adjusted yourself to it, and it will reveal a new core aspect of yourself that you were afraid of, but you're no longer afraid of. So your reality starts to shift into, well, now I feel free to express myself in that way, or to express myself in a different way anyway. So yeah, very cool. Okay, guys, I will love you and leave you here, because that's what I have. I will come up tomorrow and I'll do a live. I might even restream tomorrow. I'm a little, I shouldn't say afraid, here I am saying that word, of doing the tarot cards on Facebook, because there was a lot of hoo-ha on Facebook when it comes to, there was a lot of those horrible bots and that sort of thing on Facebook. That's why I stopped doing it on Facebook in the first place. But I might face this fear and do a tarot reading on Facebook and see what comes up. And if they come up, they come up, right? I'm not going to worry about it so much anymore. So I might restream tomorrow's as well, which will be more storytelling with the Oracle and Tarot, as well as channel messages coming through. Until then, guys, see ya. Now I've got to figure out how to get out of this. I don't even know. Oh, there it goes. Okay, another goodbye. Goodbye.